Hello, welcome to Between the Realms for the Virgo full moon of March 9th, 2020. It's been a big moon for the last couple of days, and with everything going on, it's taken me a little bit longer to get to making this video. And before I forget to even tell you who I am Carol Omar Behan, which probably has already shown up in something you've seen if you've found your way to this video and to this channel, Between the Realms, prompting me to say welcome back to those of you who have seen these prior, especially to those of you who have subscribed. Thanks for passing this along and sharing it for those that you think might find it interesting, of value, of whatever use. I'm still finding out why it is I'm doing this work, and it's really expanding awarenesses for me as well. So thanks for making the journey through this year, and maybe it will go on beyond that, who knows, but it's become a real pleasure. This one was a little later to get to because in addition to the full moon, we have been in the effects of the Mercury retrograde. Astrology is never going to be the sole focus of these, even though they come out on full and new moons. That's my game plan, as you might say. But something to share with you about this from an astrologer I've mentioned before is this little snippet from Chani Nicholas's very generous, both new and full moon astrological sharings with the world. I will put her again within the notes so that you can see more for yourself. Not only does she give particulars about the moon itself, but she gives the most really intriguing and, to my mind, helpful guidance for each of the astrological signs. So there's a lot there for you to look into and find out more what might be seeking you. But she says this about our combination here of the Mercury retrograde with the moon cycle. In general, full moons magnify whatever is happening. Oh, yes, indeed, my comment, of course. With Mercury stationing direct during this full moon, extra emphasis is given to the course correction currently occurring. Is there a course correction occurring in your journey? This astrology is akin to getting a signal after being out of range for a while. All of a sudden, messages come through, files download, and DMs get left unread on purpose instead of just accidentally. Well, I think I had a download of something last night. It's not been the easiest last few nights to fall off to sleep. There is a lot going on. Even though I live in this incredibly peace-filled place, there's so much stirring in the wider world that it is certainly in part affecting you. And I'm thinking that some of you watching this, if maybe not most of you, find that during the full moons, especially when the nights are clear, there's a lot of wonderful energy. So as I went out to just kind of hang out of the bedroom for a while and just be somewhere else instead of trying to fall asleep, I sat in the moonlight in the living room coming in through the windows and just said, now I'm in the moon chamber, and just open to receive that incredible brilliance. There is something to my mind that is so wondrous about the moon in our human journey. It is full and new in the sky. The moon is with us each and every day, for one thing. But as I was pondering this message, what came through to me was the moon reminds us of our essential oneness, world around. We are, all of us, blessed by the moon as she goes through her cycles and inspired by her. And in well, if there's been anything else very difficult about these last weeks, our oneness has been emphasized by the presence of the pandemic, as it certainly is at this point, of what's called COVID-19 in its more official name, but the coronavirus. So, in attempting to make our way through these times, both individually and as a collective, the moon serves as a place to go and find refuge, as we do need to find it, because it is a somewhat exhausting time to be present to, both for our own personal journeys and for us as a collective. So I had that observation to share with you, but as well, and this has come up. I'm turning to something a little bit more light of airiness, I guess I might say, is that as I've done these videos, from the very first one, prompted to draw tarot cards, and so those of you who've heard these before are knowing what's coming. I drew cards to see of this tarot deck, because inspiring this whole series is Glastonbury and Avalon, for my own journey in this world. So once again, I have cards to share with you, and I'll do it briefly because there are a couple other things I'd like to get to while I am sitting here talking with you. But you know, Spirit is prompting me to simply take a little time to say that, and as I glance away from here, if I'm not looking for something to share with you, I'm looking through these windows that look out to Light Spring Glen, to what is the lawn and the pond and the woods. And the fact that we're on March 9th, and I've pulled the curtain because the sun is so beautifully and bright this day. We're warming here in this part of the country to the dazzling temperature of probably high 50s today. It is a glorious early spring day, and Spirit just wanted me to share that with you in the hopes that you will find your way outside to enjoy whatever nature is awaiting you at your end of the world, and may it be as beautiful as what it's always beautiful, no matter what the weather. So anyway, I heard the message, and I know I'm working with the beautiful ones of Spirit and the other realms here of Light Spring Glen. So I'm prompted to share a little of that energy with you here. To the cards. Are you ready? Okay. The last one, and again on the bottom of the deck by the time some of you are going to know who this is. Here he is, our patron, Archangel Michael, who is the energy of Glastonbury Tor. It's one of his points of energy, strong energy here in the world. So here he is back again. Judgment is the name of this card in this deck, and it's a very auspicious card for all of us to continue. And you can go back and hear more in the first video when I read more of the entry for that. This card came first. It's an exciting one to me, and I want to read you just a little bit. There is a young man holding, it's the Two of Staffs, which I think are likened to the swords in a more traditional deck. And it's not a, go back sign. It is, if you can read the word here, the Two of Staffs, it's the gateway. Followed by a card that I'll only mention briefly, but these cards are continuing to be very powerful to share. So I know there are people out there who are waiting for these, who are receiving these messages, waiting for them perhaps, if you're retuning in. So, its meaning, you are standing, and address this to yourself, you are standing on the threshold of new experience. Before you move forward into this, it is important that you first look back and come to terms with the past, for it has brought you to this point. Give thanks for what you have learned and move with confidence towards the new opportunities that are being offered. This, well, 3 cards seem to be the right number to draw each time. And the card that came next is one that, and for those of you who are familiar with tarot, um, this is a card in, it's the first card of the major arcana in this depiction here of Glastonbury Tor. No, I'm sorry, it's not Glastonbury Tor. It's, I believe it's Camelot. I'm not going to take, oh, maybe I will look it up quick. But it is the Fool. The Fool is ready to begin his journey. He's just throwing himself into his new journey. That's primarily its meaning. So it's paired beautifully with the Gateway. I'm just going to look it up quick here. Right. Okay, where is he? Oh, well, it's Percival, connected with the Arthurian legend. He's standing on Weary All Hill. I'm always intrigued about thinking, well, I'm wondering how long this is going to go on today when I record these. Sometimes, certainly, I've been thinking, I think the first video in particular, it was like leaping off into the unknown, leaping off the cliff, knowing that the wings would come. Right, so Weary All Hill, the Arthurian legends, the Tor, Michael, time for my sales pitch, you might say, that my own journey, so you're on a journey with me through the year if you follow these, and I am pairing myself with you on your journey, and so we are companions. I look forward to the prospect that you might leave notes now and then, little indicators of where it is you're going, and you can always contact me through my website, Facebook page as well, so that's available if you feel inclined to do so. But what I've mentioned to you is reflection as well upon my own journey of these last 20-some years now of going to Avalon and Glastonbury. And this story of mine is captured in this book, Answering Avalon's Call, The Mystical Odyssey of an Earth Healer. Copies available at the moment in number through me if you'd like a signed copy and want to support, as all of us in the arts, whether we're musicians or poets or writers or actors, I'd be happy to share it with you, and you can contact me through my website. It's available on order through bookstores, independent bookstores. I sure hope you've got one handy. But the journey that I've been on has led me all the way forward to 2020 to share these with you. See, here you and I are talking together and doing all of this interesting exploration, because it is a year when I've heard from several people whose wisdom and insights I value, that it's a year of fulfillment for those of us who have been on a quest and adventuresome exploration of outer and inner worlds. It's a year of fulfillment. So remind yourself of that as you go forward, taking leaps into new parts of yourself. Because, and this has been true in every set of cards, every 3 cards I've drawn in the last months, is that we're going through, there are new portals and gateways inviting us to go through. And heaven knows, each of us is called to share things of not only new discoveries of our own inner resources and the depths of who and what we are, but that we bring these forward to share with the world. We're in difficult times in the outer world. There is no denying that. I'm prompted to remind you, as we look for ways to be in community, that there are ways to do so. And I want to give you just a small example, but such a beautiful one, as we seek community and come together for various reasons, all the way from celebration to refuge to renewal to moving forward with causes and concerns that we have that we need to address together. So for me personally, just a few days ago, in this wonderful part of the world, there's a beautiful theater that hosts. It's a vintage theater, vaudeville theater called the Walton Theater, Theatre, if you want to look it up. And a wonderful group came to perform on Saturday night, the Adam Ezra group. And I love to think you might look Adam Ezra and his group up, because they're on a mission and they're rockers from Boston in their roots. And 20 years on, Adam is building this idea of music as being and generating community. And oh my goodness, were we such a one in the Saturday night hours we were all together celebrating with his music and his bandmates. And at the end of their performance, I get goosebumps even preparing to tell you this, they had the most wonderful voices, a drummer and his bass player, and Karina, the incredible violinist, and himself, Adam, bringing forward their gifts. And several times they sang without amplification and sang acoustically, and it was extraordinary. And at the end of the evening, they came down. I mean, it's this beautiful old-timey theater, so wonderfully preserved. And they stood together in the center aisle with their instruments. It was extraordinary, and said again how much they enjoyed having this community and look forward to returning. And would we all join together in singing a song before we parted company for the night? And we sang together, "Let It Be, Let It Be, Let It Be." It was wonderful. There is community to be found in many places that are possibly not known to you yet, but can be. Ask for inspiration to bring you to such a group, if indeed that is something you feel it would help you with in your own journey and in seeking to be a part of the work that needs to be done in the world. Early on, is I have things that come to mind to note down that I might want to present on the next of the videos of Between the Realms. So this is what came to me, and is something to suggest to you in the weeks ahead before we come, as we move through the beautiful next phases of the moon from full to new again. And that is this. So I'll offer you this from my notes, and I hope you'll take it to heart. That in the weeks ahead, we're still new in this year. Though the days are getting longer, and oh my gosh, I don't know about you, but we've just had the clocks change again. So that can kind of throw you off physically too. I mean, I think I see why sleep may be a little hard to settle into on some of these last few nights, but anyway. So we're still new in the year, and for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, and those of us in the more, the higher latitudes of this, it's just so wonderful. I was going to mention too that as I've been talking to you, there are blackbirds that I've been hearing out there. I have the window open. And geese have been flying over once again, heading north, and all that wonderful stuff. All that wonderful. That's a very general term. But in these weeks to come, as it warms outside and the days get longer, and at the very least for those of us with the time change, if you get home from work at the end of the day, there's a lot more daylight for you to be able to get outside and enjoy the gifts of nature coming to wakefulness. There are two things I'm suggesting to you. The first one is that as you venture outside and can shed more of the layers that we have for those of us in the four seasons end of the world, unless you already have a good tree friend, this is the year to make yourself one, or to make yourself a new one. Seek out a tree friend, some being, standing one, that you can um, nurture a friendship with in the months to come. If it's a tree that's been in hibernation, they're coming awake now. And seek out whatever tree. If it's a pine tree, they're already pretty much stirring. That might be the tree seeking you, but I absolutely guarantee that there is a tree being seeking a friendship with you. And what a wonderful boon it would be for both of you in these months to come through 2020. The wisdom of that beautiful being, the quiet that it can offer when you are there. And that's the other thing I will add is something to seek. Is seek daily solitude. It is a very noisy world full of clamor. And we run our reserves dry often, or very low, our wells of reserve. We need to replenish ourselves. Make time every day, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. If you have to lock yourself in the bathroom, so be it. The better is to be outside and find a quiet place where you can just simply be and be with the beautiful energies that in the trees and all of the lovely ones with whom we share this world. So I will, and I know now this is once again a video of certain length, but that's all right. I know they'll always be the length they're meant to be. I'm checking once more to make sure that, no, that's about it. Oh, but I'm summing up these last bits of advice this way. It is a year, and it is a high time to practice for yourself radical self-care. Radical self-care, which equates to radical self-love. So I hope you will seek that out in these weeks. And if you've already begun that, just renew your dedication to doing so. Thanks once again for tuning in. Let me know if you think these are too long. They're not. I doubt that that is true. But if it is, it is. If it's not for you, it's certainly, that's fine. But it's been a pleasure to feel the connection. I always do when I sit and offer you some things that have come to my present awareness to share with you. Thank you very much. I look forward to returning and connecting with you again in a few weeks. Yeah, there will be things in the notes always to check. So if by some chance the notes are a little incomplete, if you see this pretty soon, it's because I'm adding on to them. So do tune back in, or rather return to that if you see the note that the notes are incomplete. All right, that's about enough for now. Wishing you very well, wishing you much sunshine and joy as this year continues to unfold. Take good care. Bye for now.